Hello, everyone. We are going to be doing a live demo of watercolor painting. And this is Barbara Irisel Sue, Parental World Knowledge. I'm the founder and I'm the owner. And we're going to be doing daily, and this will be Monday through Thursday, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Hopefully you'll be on time. Sometimes the weather, I can't, predict that it will be, on time due to that. But we're intending on being here and having also guests. And anyone can call in and ask to be scheduled in for a free lesson. We give one free lesson to everyone. And it would be 973-736-1637. We are in West Orange, New Jersey, USA, and our hours of being here where you can call would be 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. And hopefully, you will call us and schedule in your free lesson. And you don't have to bring any supplies. The supplies are included, so the lesson's free. And the supplies, there's no gimmick. You don't have to sign up for anything else. Okay, let's start by just, telling you what you do first for if you're a beginner. You're going to have to do a line drawing. As you can see, I just outlined different things. I have fruit and some flowers, and I didn't, complete the drawing. You don't have to for watercolor. So it's just, either you're looking at something, a prop, or using your imagination as I did. And I just, did the outline of it, not the entire, fruit. Like I have some grapes there. I did not do the entire thing. And that's what you have to do. And you can use a regular pencil. If you don't have a art pencil, that's fine. And try not to make it too dark. As you see, I did it rather light. And then you're going to be painting with watercolor that's non-toxic. That's what we have here, and I would suggest that you definitely get that, especially if you have children or allergies or senior citizens. You always should really buy the non-toxic. It's better for your health and everyone's. Now also, I use, this is just, palette paint. And I also do use the tubes, but you have to get a quality. Somebody donated some paints to us, and it dried out so fast. I use a quality one from Jerry's, and Jerry's Artist Outlet in West Orange, and that's New Jersey, USA. And I would, also you could go online to order Jerry's because there are more than one Jerry's. I just want to show you that this is a proper. This one I've had for 2 years, and it hasn't dried out. And somebody gave me a kit, and unfortunately, I just used it very little. It's just within a number of months, and now it's not good. So you have to really, besides getting non-toxic, you have to be getting quality. The Grummacher paint is excellent. The quality from Jerry's, they have the best. And the reason I use white so that you can blend your colors. You're going to need, if you want different colors like I have. Obviously, these were blended. These weren't directly from the palette. So, it's good to have, when you're buying it, you need to have like a little palette, either on the paint box or to buy your own little palette. And brushes, I have every size brush so that, if you want to make something rather thin, you're going to have, you know, one like this. But then if you have a wider area, I mean, it would take so long for me to use that. So obviously get different sizes. And be sure, these are, you know, very quality brushes. And again, Grumbacher, this is from New York. These are excellent. They don't dry out. They're, you know, wonderful, natural, and those are the best. You have to have good brushes to do your painting. Okay, now I want to show you. You don't take much water, so you know you're going to put water, but you could just, I have a little container here and I'll show you. You just, you know, would brush off. So if you put it in and just brush off, that's what I was doing. All right. And I'm going to be doing some of my hairs, and I've got to try to find a color that I like. I have a brown here, and I'll mix some with the white. So you're just going to get it to be a kind of a beigey color. You really don't want too much paint at once, because it's a small area. And if you want it darker, what you could do is just rinse your brush off. Say you felt, gee, that's not dark enough, because I want a little bit more brown. Okay, that's good. So I just took a little bit off. I brushed it off like I showed you before. And when you paint, you need to just do strokes, easy strokes. As you can see, I'm just putting the paint where that hair is, and when you do this too, best to start with light colors. As you could see, I did start with light colors originally. Now I'm getting into the darker colors. Reason being, if you happen to put too much water while you're painting, it won't smear and cause you to have to, you know, do a lot of layering. If you did make a mistake, don't worry, because you can just always layer over the colors. That's not a problem. So just relax and enjoy it. This is supposed to be fun. It's not supposed to make you a nervous wreck. In my first video talking about our new daily art reality show, I stated that someone who had a master's degree in art, she was terrific in art, but when it came to watercolor, it's passed over so quickly in school and in college that she just did not master it. It's not her fault. This should be, because it's the first thing you should learn in fine art, in painting. That is the basis for every other media. So it's going to help you, it's going to improve your art tremendously if you master the watercolor. And it isn't hard. It's really easy once you try it. So please give us a call. And even if you have a master's degree in art, we want to teach you the proper method. Instead of the method that you barely learned, and you will have so much fun learning this if you just think of it that you can do this and not let it get to you. It was interesting. Her children were here with her, and they didn't worry about being perfect as a master artist, and they were able to master it a little sooner. So then she did. She did great. Before she left, this wonderful master artist, she did master it. So within 1 hour, I can instruct anyone from children to adults, and you can learn the proper method. Okay, so just do strokes that are just gentle strokes while you're painting. And if you need to let a portion dry, you can always just turn your paper. That's all. Just turn your paper around to another part. So, don't worry that if something's still wet, you just go to the next part. And the wonderful thing about watercolor, you can also blend it with different media. So I do watercolor in acrylic, and we will get into that another lesson. We're not going to be doing acrylic today, but mixed medias are great to do. And I also mix other medias. It's wonderful. I have acrylic with oil. There's so much you can do in art. It doesn't have to be one media. So, and in addition, when you're completed with your watercolor, to make the colors pop and really zing, you need color pencils. And it just gives it a three-dimensional look. And you can take the color pencil that enhances the color that you have. So make it as close as you can. And this is just marvelous. And if it's a little bit off, that's okay too. It will make it enhanced. And you will see such a difference with your work once it's all dried and completed. You can't do it while it's wet. So and I will be doing that too before we finish this painting. And again, if you're just tuning in, make sure you do little strokes, just gentle little strokes as you're painting. I have a small area right now. If I had a larger area, I would use a larger brush, as I said before, and you can make a little bit larger strokes. But at this point, we're doing a small area, and so you're just going to do gentle strokes to complete. And never worry if you do make any mistakes. You can layer. And what I mean by layer, you're just taking the same color and you're putting at least a few layers on. If need be, you might want to put more. And what I always use a canvas paper. This is, not just regular watercolor paper. It's canvas, just like if you had a canvas for doing your acrylics or your oils. You can get watercolor canvas. It's a little thinner than the canvas. It's not, it doesn't have the size and everything, but you can use this also for acrylic. It states on what you're buying. If you buy a pad, and generally the pads, they come this size. Okay, and you would purchase according to what you want to get. I mean, I purchased one that was pre-treated. It costs a little bit more, but it's worth it, so that you don't have to put. If this wasn't pre-treated, I'd have to put the white paint as a base first. So I have this, as I showed you, the tube of white watercolor, and I would have to cover the whole piece of canvas with the white as a base. But this is pre-treated, and so I don't have to do that, and that's great. It saves a lot of time. To me, it's worth a little extra money. Get the pre-treated. It's already has the white base, so your colors don't bleed, and you're painting. It would get like purple. If you're not going to have it treated. You have to have the paper, either you paint it or you have to have one that is pre-treated. So that's something to consider when you're going to the art store. And it is good to buy your own supplies so that in between lessons, you save time, that you're able to take your work home and work on it instead of just, taking a lesson and see that you mastered what you learned. And then when you come back and I can see, and if there's anything that needs to be corrected, I'm more than happy to help you. I never correct on your paper, never correct on your canvas, anything. You just will be shown on a separate piece of paper by me, and I'll instruct you. But I just want to let you know, please don't go to any art studio that's going to be correcting your work. It has to be your work. You want to feel proud that you did something. And even in school, no teacher should be correcting your work on your paper. They should, show you on the side and let you learn and master it. And I hope that never happens to any student. I heard some stories, and I won't say which school, but I heard some stories that there was competition and they did that. They did right on the paper. And I mentioned this before, when I was talking about art, and it was on YouTube. And I just think that's horrible to do that. I really think, you want to feel proud that you made this. You made this painting. You don't want anybody else's work but your own. And if you can't feel proud about your painting, to me, you're taking all the joy out of art. And I just want you to really enjoy. And as I've learned by my late master artist, Ruth Hurwitz, she was my late mother, and just amazing what she taught me. And she never made me do exactly what she wanted. She always let me paint whatever I want, but she just showed me how to do everything. And I like that very much. And unfortunately, you can't always get that from a teacher in school, but there are some that do. And I was lucky enough to have the head of the art department, and he was just superb, Mr. Minnie. And my son had the same teacher, and I had mentioned that in my previous demo tape from my art reality show. And he just was superb. You couldn't have better, and had a great sense of humor. And to this day, I think about when he was younger. He totally changed later on, when he was the head of the art department. But he was very funny and made us laugh always in the art room. The things that he did, it was just unbelievable. His feet were hurting him one day, and he takes off his shoes and he puts his feet into the sink. And I'm going, oh my gosh, this is too much. And everyone's laughing. And we were just laughing, enjoying our art and cracking up. And to this day, and I keep thinking off and on about that every now and then when I'm painting. But he taught us to be free with our art, and he was free with, taking care of himself too, which is good. But it was just unexpected in the school art room. But I'll tell you, just enjoy when you're doing your art. And don't worry about being perfect. Nobody has to be perfect with your art. And sometimes this one woman, I went to her art show, and it's interesting. She did still life beautifully. And then I noticed it was so rigid. And I said, was this earlier work? And she says, no, this was later work. I went to France, and I had an instructor, and they told me, to do it this style. And I go, this is not as good as your original. And it's hard to believe. In France, you would think, because they are the best painters usually, in every field. And this was not. It was just too perfect. It looked exactly like a photograph and not a painting. And it shouldn't be so rigid. It should be free, the way her style was at first. And I told her, try not to make it just so perfect. Because if you just make it so perfect, it looks like a photograph. It's not looking like a painting. We want to see, and it was, she had it in oil, and it just was too perfect. So don't worry about being perfect with your work. Just enjoy. It doesn't have to be perfect exactly. There's so many great artists that they have their own style and not making it exactly perfect. And like, I love Monet, and did play on lights with his work. And his work is not exactly perfect all the time. And that's what makes it so great. It's his style. And he was way ahead of his time, and wasn't appreciated in his time. It's just very sad, but that happens. So, just don't let it get to you. You do your style, enjoy it. And of course, if you end up doing this as a career, right, maybe sometimes you want to paint something because people will buy it, but don't give up your style. I would not give up my style. Your style is what makes it unique, and that's what you need to do. You find your own style. Now, I'll instruct you, but you have to do your own style. And also, I do pray before I do my work. If you believe in prayer, I would definitely do that. And it helps. And I believe in feng shui, and you do nice colors, and it should be that you're following your style. I mean, that's how I do it. You don't have to necessarily do what I do, but I just love that colors and nice and airy. I don't crowd things in with what I do. And another thing too, when you're painting, once it goes, once it's dry, then you could put, like, again, some more layers. You can put some more color in. I started off with a little darker, and I'm putting some more color in. Rinse your brush. We want to change, make it a little darker. And as you can see, what I'm doing here, you just go like this to get the color, get enough. Mix it again with your white so it's not too dark. And as I said, do a few layers. So I only did 2 so far. So it has a lot more to go. Again, brush off the too thick. A little bit of water at times, and then mix with your white. Now onto my 3rd layer. I'll show you it again. So like I said, you need at least a few layers, depending on what you're doing. You can see it's wet, but you can see the pairs that I'm doing. And then I'll let that dry. Go on to the next part. I want to get some more of my flowers done. I took an orange color and make it with the white. I'm going to put more orange again, a little darker. As you can see, I'm putting this one of the flowers, a tiny little bud there. You just have to keep going gentle strokes and get the colors the way you want them. There are no set colors for the way you want to paint something. It's your colors. You're the artist. You have a decision on how you want it to look. When I do my flowers, I always make sure that I don't put lines for around it. I put darker colors to enhance the part that I want. I'm going to put a little more orange in here with the white. Now I'll let it dry. So as you can see I'm starting to make the bud of that little flower there. And you have to keep, layering again. You'll have to sit for a little while and you can go back to it. I'm going to do another one in the meantime. And I hope my son can sometimes appear on our art reality show for Parental World Knowledge, because he is currently our volunteer and he also is a lead green architect. He works as a junior architect right out of college. And I'm very, proud of him. And I just hope that he is able to come on our show. Get him to draw some beautiful buildings and show you how to paint, hopefully, if he is able to appear. He works very hard. And then he volunteers and he gives lectures about how to help the poor. So, he's doing his best. So I don't know if he's able to show, but I did, tell him. We'd love for him to be on our show. Okay, I'm going to let that dry because it's very wet still. But you can see that, I'm starting to get the other flowers done. And now I'm going to go on to have some other flowers, and I have also the grapes. Okay. I'll make some gold in it. Put some yellow. So I took some beige that I had already mixed from the brown and the white, and now I put a little yellow to make it a little deeper. And if you're not really sure how to make colors, I would advise you to take a book out from the library, public library, and try to get for watercolor and different colors that you could make. There are always a lot of books on watercolor, and you could see like the different colors you could make on your palette. When you're here, I can show you if you're new at painting. But it's good too to have a book. Always good to have books on art, your famous artists that you like. We have many books here too that you can look at when you're in our studio. But when you're home, doing your painting, it's good to have some books on hand. If you're just tuning in, I'm doing gentle strokes. I did a little bit more of that flower. You see that it had more than one color. So more of a bronzy color. And I'll let it dry. I'll go to another part because it's quite wet still. Okay, now I'm going to do another part here of the flower, more bronze into it, the same color. Okay. gosh, it's almost done. Let's see, did another portion of it. It's right there. Now it has to dry, and I'll put more layers. And I'm going to go on to another section. Some flowers. Could use the middle of this flower. I'm going to put like a peachy kind of color. Go for my orange again and white. If your water starts to get too cloudy, you can always go and change it. I hope the reception's coming in clear because it was supposed to rain here very hard in West Orange. It's a shame. Whenever you want to do a broadcast, I don't know what it is, but it just seems to rain or snow. It just has been such inclement weather. It's just terrible what's going on. It's going around all around the world, not just here. And it was very cold today. It was much nicer yesterday. It felt so windy and cold. When they predicted it was going to rain, I knew by the way it was feeling. They were right. Weather forecasters. It's just a shame that we had such a harsh winter and so many people, not just us, but so many people. And the damage that it has done is just unbelievable. I can't even imagine what some people went through. So let's hope, spring is here, and let's hope it's going to be spring. Let's hope. Warmer, sunnier. Let's truly hope. Because this weather has not been like last year. Last year was so much better with our winter. My dad slipped and fell on the ice, and it was on the water plate that was in front of our garage because it's always easier to go in through the garage. But it just started snowing, it just started freezing, and it was so slippery. We didn't have a snow plow, And I Googled it to see if there's a safety plate that we should have had, because I really believe that this isn't. There's no way, if it just started snowing, just started to freeze a little bit, if we didn't have a snow plow machine, it shouldn't have been that slippery. I mean, he fractured his shoulder, he fractured his arm, and I'm just telling you because I hope that no one has something like that happen. It should not be a slippery water plate. And this is what Google, it's stated that as long as you're not using a plow, and it shouldn't be. It should be. It has been many years ago. They had made this non-slippery, and everyone should be having that. So just letting you know, if you're not really sure, don't be walking on. And that was the least part where there was snow and ice, so that's why he went on that part. But being it was a slippery water plate, that's how he fell and fractured. He didn't hold any bundles. He's a very active senior citizen in his 90s. He volunteers at a veterans home in Paramus. God bless him. And he is doing all the collecting. He's the head of all the collecting for the veterans. So there's just, and he's driving, he's so active a person, and now he is confined to bed. This is terrible. He still, had to have major surgery, and he still has not healed up. So, if I'm ever that I can't start on time, if I have an emergency with him, please forgive, but I'm doing my best, and I try to get a nurse to help me, but unfortunately, there are so many slips and falls recently. There's not enough from the veteran hospital to send out anyone. So I'm on my own, and I'm doing my best. And at any rate, but talking about something better, getting to do more of my flower. And see, I put the colors, I don't want to just have the one color. It's good to break it up. And I just hope that no one goes through that. And first, when I called the water company, they were in denial. And then I said, Google said this, and Google does not make these mistakes. If they put factual information, it's correct. And then insisting that, she then apologized, saying, "Gee, I'm sorry, that occurred." And she was trying to tell me that it belongs to the sewer department, and it doesn't. Well, at any rate, I thank you so much for listening for the watercolor lesson. And I will be back on the 1st of April. No joke. It's April Fool's Day, but I really are going to come. As long as no emergencies here, we should be, again, 5 p.m. to 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, as long as I have reception too. And I'm looking forward to giving you a lesson. And I'll, be doing a text that day earlier. And I hope that people will tune in and tell me, if my test is working. And thank you so much. I hope that you enjoy painting, if you were painting along with me, or at least watching. And thank you again. You take care. Bye now.